Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. Remember the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason, and plot. In the U.S., we know that. But do we have any idea what we're remembering? Probably not. Now, those in the UK probably don't need this history lesson. But to me, this has always been interesting because it shows how a symbol of resistance gets created. And a lot of times those who rally around that symbol may not really know what it means. So, Queen Elizabeth I was on the throne. And let's just say she had some issues with the Catholic Church. She was excommunicated in 1570. And she, in many ways, engaged in a lot of repression of Catholics under her rule. Now, when she died, James I took over, and a lot of people, a lot of Catholics, thought that was going to be the end of it. They thought that he was going to introduce some reforms, and they were wrong. He didn't. He didn't. In fact, he expelled the priests as well. So, when they realized they weren't going to get a reprieve, there were a lot of unsuccessful attempts on him. And then in May of 1603, Guy Fawkes, also known as Guido, met with Robert Catesby and some other people. Catesby was the leader, by the way, not Guy. I think they met in a bar. And they hatched this plot, and they were going to take out Parliament, like all of it. They rented a cellar underneath Parliament, and they had planned on a day that James I was going to be there, his eldest son was going to be there, as well as the House of Lords and the House of Commons. Pretty ambitious. And then once the boom had boomed, Catesby and the other guys, well, they were going to start a Catholic uprising. They were going to snatch James's daughter and marry her off to a Catholic. Put a Catholic back on the throne. That was the plan. But on October 26th, an anonymous letter warned somebody, don't go. And that tipped off the authorities that there was a plot. Maybe. There are some people who believe the authorities already knew. And they were just letting it go forward up until right before to further create animosity towards Catholics. We'll probably never know the truth there. Now, Fawkes was... and company, all of them. They ceased to be shortly thereafter, November the 5th. Some of them when they were about to be captured, and some of them later. November 5th, he's not the hero of that day. He's burned in effigy. In fact, kids will trick-or-treat with him. Take him around, their effigy of him, and say, hey, a penny for the guy. The current version that we know in the United States does not come from history. It's image rehabilitation. It comes from a comic book, V for Vendetta, which was turned into the movie. That's where the image comes from in the U.S. as this symbol of resistance. And yeah, I guess it was. I guess he was resistance back in the day. But it's probably not one that Occupy Wall Street or Anonymous would really choose to be associated with. Backing the Catholic Church. Probably not. But at some point, Guy Fawkes and that mask became more than history. Became something else. Became a symbol of resistance. There are a lot of things throughout history that have happened like this. A whole bunch of symbols that we may not really understand the meaning of, but they're all around us. They're all around us, and it's not just symbols of resistance, it's everything. It's just something I've always found interesting. Remember the Maine. It's not talking about the state. Tippecanoe and Tyler too. These slogans, these symbols, these ideas, they resonate for whatever reason. Most times they resonate. We don't even know why. It seems funny that the reality is, for Americans, Guy Fawkes Day is not about Guy Fawkes. That mask is not about him. It's about a comic book character and somebody uniting the faceless masses against an oppressive government. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.